What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and we have a brand new clan in Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. It is the UNMYEONG clan. So today I'm going to do a full breakdown. But first, download Gemstone Legends, a mobile RPG puzzle match game. Use the link in the description to start with free stuff, including a bonus hero. Alright, so this is one of those events where you have to go in and you have to do the objective and then go into the redemption store and get enough favorability, which I would suggest that you do first to get the companion, and then if you have enough points left over, go for the mythic champion. That can take a lot of diamonds. Now, if you have a lot of diamonds, great. Then this makes this a pretty easy hero to get. But it can be a challenging hero if you're trying to be a free-to-play or cheap-to-play player. And you just don't have a lot of diamonds or already spent it on another event. But let's go ahead and look at these heroes. I'm going to start with the trait. That way we can decide if it's worth it to go through the event or not. The trait is called Corrosive Power. When dealing active skill damage, reduces the enemy's strength by some percent for 5 seconds. The effect is not stackable. So of course, the number here is 11% because it's an epic. It's going to be higher the higher the rarity. And I think this has the potential to be a good trait. I don't know if it's one of the top go seek 'em out types of traits. But it is a good one. So like if you're looking for, I would say, a mule type of hero to put this on, that's a hero where really you only need to have like maybe honorable and energetic on it, because the effect it's doing is more of a support role than like an aggressive attacking damage role. Then this could potentially be a mule type of thing where it doesn't matter what the active skill is doing. Just if it's doing damage, then the enemy's strength is being reduced. Now, I'd like to see this hit more than one hero. That's why I think it's good, but maybe not one we chase. I just don't think it's going to have a big enough effect on the battlefield. We have plenty of traits that are going to affect more than one hero on the opposing side or more than one hero on your team to be chasing one like this. And now we'll break down the male first, and then we'll take a look at the female. These are assassins, and I'm going to start with the passive skill because that's usually what affects the battlefield first. Raven Hunt fights alongside one selection immune Raven. At the start of the battle, the Raven targets the enemy champion with the highest strength until they die. While being targeted, the enemy takes 20% more damage. I do like to see that. When any champion dies, the caster gains 1 stack of soul power, permanently increasing strength by 8% up to 6 times with 6 stack max. When taking lethal damage, if the caster has soul power, they become immune to the damage and consume all soul power stacks to gain a shield equal to 350% of the caster's strength, multiplied by the number of consumed stacks for 4 seconds. When the shield expires, the remaining shield value is converted into Constitution. There's quite a lot going on there for a passive. I do like to see that it's the most aggressive thing that happens first, which is causing the enemy to take more damage. That's just an effect in this game I really, really like, and I think is understated, meaning I think that people underestimate the impact that's having on the battlefield. And there's flashier things people tend to put their eyes on, but that's just really, really good. But I like that as the passive progresses, there is no wasted momentum with what it's doing, and that you actually get some survivability in a shield, and you get increased strength here, and you get increased constitution as well. So Umbra Strike is the active skill, teleports behind the target being attacked by the Raven, performing 2 slashes toward the target, dealing a total of 250% true damage based on the caster's strength, then thrusts forward again, piercing the target, and deals damage equal to 300% of the caster's strength to nearby enemies. We're starting to see a lot more true damage in this game, which is ignoring defense basically. And so you get one of those hits there, and you get some AoE damage to nearby enemies. The Raven targets the enemy, dealing true damage equal to 15% of the target's lost constitution, stunning them for 2 seconds. Now we get CC on the active skill as well. Damage dealt has a 2000% cap of the caster's strength. During the cast, the caster gains selection immunity and recovers 30% of the damage dealt as constitution with each attack. And now we get some healing as well. So both on the passive and on the active skill, I'm seeing things I really like to see, which is being offensive and aggressive at the same time being defensive. Now, typically with champions, you get one or the other. You get a really big damage dealer that's kind of a glass cannon and is easy to kill, or you get a big defender who's not doing much for the offense but is hopefully supporting the team in some other way. And here we're kind of getting both, and these can tend to be pretty powerful heroes when you get both like that, because you're not losing anything in the game by being offensive and attacking. You're doing that at the same time as you're also potentially gaining constitution. Now, here's the big question mark for me with the passive and the active is how much is that really going to matter? So is the match going to go so quickly that maybe you don't even get to benefit from it? Or is the constitution recovery just so small it doesn't matter? We're gonna have to test it to see. The ultimate, Feather of Death, rapidly spins in a circle, shooting feathers in all directions, adding a 4-second mark, and deals damage equal to 650% of the caster's strength when enemies are hit. Marked targets have their energy regain reduced by 35%. So there's some more crowd control, even though it's more subtle than like a stun. But basically now you're keeping your opponent's ultimates from going off before yours. Every attack from the caster of the Raven on the marked target reduces the caster's active skill cooldown by 0.5 seconds. When the mark duration ends, it triggers an additional true damage equal to 50% of the damage taken during the mark. Adding more marks will immediately trigger previous marks' effects. During cast, the caster becomes selection immune. Okay, so this hero on every single one of the skills has so much freaking text. There's just a lot going on with it. And what's going on with this one is you're just getting compounding effects of damage dealing going on here, which is kind of cool. And we get more true damage, which is nice. I just love being able to ignore any kind of defense. So I think there's the chance that he could be a really big damage dealer. He does seem mostly selective in who he's going after, although there is some AoE on the active skill side of it. So I could see him being potentially good. As far as traits go, I mean, he's looking like a damage dealing hero who has the side benefit of also gaining some constitution back. But I would stay more on the damage dealing types of traits. So, brutal and fierce are good from the regular side because there's a strength cap on the damage here. You're also looking at something like aggressive if you think that your match is going to go a little longer. That's always good. And interestingly enough, I think that the Shoten clan trait might be good here as well. And the reason I'm thinking that is just because you want to see if you can maybe get his ultimate to go off before all the other champions, and keep it going off before, because he can really slow down the opponent's ultimates with his ultimate. So it could be kind of spicy to throw that one in there too. Just thinking. Now let's take a look at the female and make the comparison. Her passive is Phantom Strike. After every 2 normal attacks, the caster unleashes a reinforced attack that knocks back the current enemy, dealing a damage total of 480% damage equal to the caster's strength and 40% life steal. So now you're getting that damage dealing and healing with her too. All active skills or reinforced normal attacks ignore 100% of the enemy's defense. That feels like just another way to just say true damage. Before using an active skill or normal attack, if the enemy is far away, the caster pulls them closer with a fan, dealing 300% damage based on the caster's strength, prioritizing marked enemies. My goodness, these two have so much going on with the passive. Like just lots of damage, and you're getting some crowd placement control out of this too, with her pulling in opponents, which, as you know, is probably going to be really powerful if you have champions with AoE effects where you want to bunch the opposing team together and just really nail them all at once with some damage. Rapid Hit is the active skill, continuously strikes enemies in a small area in front, knocking them back, dealing a total of 720% damage equal to the caster's strength with a 40% life steal on the active skill. Oh my gosh. This skill marks the weakest hit target for 4 seconds and cannot be dispelled. During the cast, the caster becomes immune to control. So anti-CC. That's a pretty good amount of damage there. Gusty Blade is the ultimate, unleashing 3 tornadoes with different paths. I want to see that animation. Each dealing 600% damage equal to the caster's strength to enemies in their path and knocking them back. So we're getting a lot more AoE out of her. Each tornado also deals damage equal to 8% of the enemy's max constitution, up to 2000% of the caster's strength. Enemies take 25% increased damage and have their crit reduced lowered by 45% for 5 seconds. An enemy can be hit by a maximum of 2 tornadoes. After casting, the caster teleports behind the weakest enemy hit by a tornado. So this looks more like a purely damage dealing ultimate than the male, who's got a little bit of CC going on there, some crowd control. But this is just a lot of damage. You are getting a defensive type of effect in here too, with having the crit reduction lowered by 45%. And so it's kind of having the same, like, very offensive but also defensive effect too. I just like when I see things like that paired together. But that part of it's probably not going to be super noticeable, have a bigger impact on the battlefield than you're actually seeing. The tornadoes, however, I mean, that's just one of those animations that's going to make this hero look like she's doing a whole lot. Now, whether she actually is or not, again, it's going to come down to testing. But since she's more of what I would consider to be a pure damage dealer, you're going to be just loading up on the damage dealing traits, in my opinion. So brutal and fierce, and all the other ones that you can possibly imagine that go along with that, like Shura's avatar, and aggressive, and if you want to use plume dance potentially, and that all that of course depends on your crit rate and crit damage. But however you build your big damage dealers, those are considerations that I would use when doing that. So anyway, I think they both look like they're pretty good, but they may be hard to get depending on how many diamonds you have. If you have a lot, it's going to be easy. You're just gonna have to put in the work. I'm leaning towards female being a little better right now, just because I think that the male's trying to find his place. Is he an offensive weapon or is he a support? He doesn't quite have enough CC to be a true CC support hero. I think for what she does, she's probably going to do it better. So this is just purely speculation, but I think it's going to be her that I lean towards. But we'll see. It's going to take some testing. I think it's close. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. And I will catch you in the next one.